All right, everyone. Macron and his globalistic ilk are now in a race with Theresa May and the UK anti-Brexiteers to see who can collapse their government faster. Macron, he's doing this. He's doing this stupid shit. It's like he comes out instead of addressing the problems that are causing people to protest and treating them like, hey, you're individuals in France, I feel your pain, doing the conciliatory politician lawyer speak bullshit thing. Instead of doing that like a normal person, because he's a big strong Jupiter, trust me, I look like Marco Rubio, only, I put even more lifts in my shoes. He comes out and says, well, we're going to have a national debate. Oh yeah, the other person withdrew from it, but we're going to have a national debate and over these issues. There are some things we're not willing to consider. Like, we're not willing to consider, economic reform. I think abortion was one of them. Gun control, probably, because the French are disarmed. It's a really rather strange scenario where he's suggesting, instead of doing something about the problems that are causing people to burn cars and throw rocks, he's saying, well, we're going to have a debate over whether we can even talk about solving the problems with the the opposing people within the country. And again, the debate moderator there apparently was making like astronomical sums of money and therefore had to withdraw, and now they're trying to reestablish like what they're going to fucking do. And then this comes in the wake of the prime minister there saying, well, I've got the solution to the problem. We're going to start putting people in if you are part of these protests and you do anything wrong, we're going to put you in a registry and increase the sentences. Yeah, so basically doing exactly like what any medieval tyrant would do instead of, again, addressing the problem. Here's the problem with representative government. What do you do when it stops representing people and starts representing only the interests of a handful of elites that don't even have national loyalty in most cases? They're like, yeah, the EU is great. Hey, dude, yeah, I make extra money off the misery of other people, too. We can embezzle even more, and then we can call it family-friendly benevolence. I can disarm people and say I'm saving kids. I can censor people and say I'm stopping hate. I can crush private industries and say I'm doing it for the environment. I'm a wonderful person. And the funny thing is, half the population of these countries fucking supports this shit. Yeah, I guess you get the government you deserve. The people of France obviously do not any longer deserve something as shitty as Macron. And this is the same Macron that they came out and declared the messiah of centrism, whatever the hell that means. Oh, he can make it look cool because, again, he's sort of younger-ish, although his wife is geriatric. He's younger-ish and sort of, well-spoken, able to schmooze, sort of like an Obama. Well, it didn't work now, did it? Julian Castro is trying to do that right now. Will be interesting to see if he can hoodwink enough people to become the Dem nominee. Probably not, although he's more formidable than anyone that's currently in the field actively. Tulsi Gabbard. People trying to correct me on Tulsi Gabbard, thinking I got her mixed up with Nikki Haley. I'm sitting there laughing my ass off. No, the Yellow Vest protests are still growing. For a while, they were sloughing off. But then Macron showed, and the Prime Minister showed, hey, yeah, we still fucking hate you. We're going to keep antagonizing you because we're just so dumb. Macron's approval's in the shitter. It's sub 20%. Meanwhile, Trump supposedly is a lame duck, or nearly so. He's at 43, 44% still. He's at the same approval level. Supposedly, he can't accomplish anything. He's a total loser. Globalism is so great, and Trump populism is so evil and despicable, and we must reject it. And he's got twice as much support. And I'm sitting there thinking, no, that puts Macron in the same boat as Theresa May and most of the other Western European globalist politicians. Meanwhile, Orban, he doesn't have any problems. The Polish government doesn't have any problems. Hell, Vladimir Putin, who is going strong-arm authoritarian fucking mode, he doesn't have any problems either. That shows how shitty people like Macron are. Not to, again, there's a little bit of Putin worship on some elements of the right, and that's bullshit mostly. No, he's a globalist too. He wants to be the big dog of globalism instead of the U.S. It's basically the grand chessboard has become the grand checkerboard. Basically, it's a basically Cold War light that we're talking about in the economic field. In the military field, oh, it's still on, definitely. You could have, mushroom clouds tomorrow or something. Some people still are delusional enough to think that can't happen, make no preparations, and will suffer long-term potentially because of that. The Yellow Vest protesters got initially cast off as a small group of basically, they're just thugs, essentially, Macron said. They're far right. They're Nazis or something. They're arguing for more pensions and a reduction of austerity and traditionally left-wing economics. They actually want more leftism, which I think is terrible, but, if it's the will of the people, that's totally different. This is what I said years ago with the EU. the reason that it should be dissolved. You've got far left and far right elements that don't like it. You've also got libertarian and other political elements, just general routine populists. They're like, well, I like the system the way it is. I just want more border sovereignty or something. You've got a huge collective of groups that don't like the European Union in its bureaucratic sort of globalism. What I said is, you can have a far left, a far right, a more libertarian, more authoritarian, all sorts of governments. But you can't even have that debate if you have a post-national authority making all the decisions for you. Then you've only got one governing body. Normally, what would happen in Europe? A government makes a mistake. They implement a tax that's overburdensome. They abuse their population. They make a diplomatic mistake. It affects them. It affects them. It can be somewhat deleterious to like close allies, bordering states. You could have a refugee movement or something, but generally it affects 90% of the effect is just theirs. With the European Union, you have an additional layer of body that can make a mistake. What happens if the EU makes an economic or diplomatic error? What if they get frozen out by the rest of the Western world? What if they antagonize Russia into a ground invasion or something? Well, then it just doesn't affect one state, it affects all of fucking Europe. See, now you're playing in a totally different ball field. You've created a federation of states. It is a nationalizing project. It is an attempt over time, openly now alluded to by some of these people, by Merkel and Hollande, I believe. Definitely Merkel. Openly alluded to as an experiment in trying to create one Europe. They want to erase the borders entirely, have one military force, run by Germans, of course, one sort of diplomatic body, run by Germans, of course. Are you beginning to see a little bit of a pattern here and why Merkel so tenaciously clings to things? And Merkel's not even the only one. Like, she's saying, oh, I'm going to step down because nobody likes me. Her hand-picked successor is going to be the next one who runs things. Because it's an imperialistic project. Globalism is just rebranded imperialism anyway. They can give it family-friendly labels saying, well, it's about cooperation, peace, and togetherness. No, it's about taking things over without having to kill people. Yeah, it's a kinder, gentler kind of genocide, I suppose, that they have in mind. And that really is the end goal. The end goal is the subjugation of the world light. The subjugation of the world without the world realizing it's been subjugated. So long as you can keep up the charade, yeah, protests will be more limited, and anyone that stands against it's just an extremist or a conspiracy theory. Yeah, they would have called the American GIs extremists and conspiracy theories too if they'd had any sense, but, at the time they weren't sophisticated enough in their propaganda. Yeah, old Adolf is actually blushing at how effective those that came after him have been in convincing people to basically lay down your arms, get rid of your guns. No, we're going to censor things. We're even going to ban books and start burning them too. We're going to go on pogroms against people with different views from those held by the establishment. We're going to bomb third world countries, and then we're going to invite the villagers that are displaced in, and we're going to act like they have to suck us off in benevolence because we got rid of their villages. Yeah, what a wonderful thing the European Union really is. So Macron is evil. Merkel is evil. These people are unrepentantly fucking evil. That's about all. Peace out.